Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 2 of sandcasting, cleaning up your rings. Hi friends, good morning. It is the second day and we're going to discuss how to clean up your sandcastings. Grab your coffee and let's get to the first step cleaning up is to take off the little sprues. I'm going to be entirely real with you. Cutting off the sprues is a labour of love, and as you get more familiar with the sandcasting process, you'll work out the best way to cut your sprues into the sand so that they're easier to saw off. But at first you're probably going to end up with some gigantic sprues where there is not enough time or patience in the entire observable universe to remove them. I would recommend rotating your piece of jewellery so you're cutting around the whole sprue. If you try and go straight through it from one direction, you have a 99.9% likelihood of not cutting a straight line and cutting straight through part of your jewellery that you wanted to keep. My top tip for de-spruing is to pop on some tunes, take some deep breaths, and take your sweet ass time. Don't rush it. Rushing de-spruing breaks your saw blades, which costs you money and will free your temper. Sometimes it's necessary to take your saw blade to the inside of the band and cut away the excess that's kind of sticking out in the inside of the ring. This just means that when you get to the filing stage, it's not going to be as gruesome or as hard work. After we've done that, we need to file down the outside of the rings so that we can comfortably hold the ring to file the inside, because at the moment the outside of the ring is so spiky and uncomfortable. I always use a ring clamp to help hold the rings in place for filing. It means that I can add more pressure to the file and get the job done faster. Also, it prevents my fingers from getting in the way. God knows my nails don't need any more accidental filing. For the stage of filing, I'm using my coarsest file, a cut 0, and I'm just working my way around the ring, reforming the shape of the band. Once you are happy that you've removed enough of the lumps and bumps from the outside of the band, you can start filing the inside. Over time, the muscles in your hands will build up so that you can hold the ring in this position for a while and file away at it. I got really lucky. God gave me a spattering of ambidextrousness, and I can often swap over if the other hand gets tired. But I do have a cheeky trick up my sleeve for you, and my trick comes in the form of a diamond burr and a Dremel. Using the diamond burr, you're able to grind down some of those more stubborn areas on the inside of the band. You do have to go back in with your file afterwards to sort of smooth everything out, but it definitely speeds up the process and saves your phalanges. You can really see the difference now that you see the rings side by side, what we started with and where we are. And although there's a lot of polishing still to do, the brunt of the work is done and we are well on our way to having a super shiny silver ring. Here you can see me using the mandrel and a rubber mallet to shape the ring perfectly round before we begin polishing. Personally, I find polishing to be the worst part of jewelry making. It is just so boring and it's so easy to lose focus and then miss scratches and then have to redo all the work or kind of go back to the beginning. This method I'm going to show you uses a rotary drill, but if you don't have one of those, you can make up some buff sticks with sandpaper, just increasing the grit each time. You know, it will take a little while to polish a ring that way, but it's totally possible. So to polish the jewellery, I'm using rolls of sandpaper that sit in the end of the rotary motor, and I'm working my way up from a 240 grit to a 400 grit to a 600 grit. Each time you move up a grit, the scratches in the surface of the metal become smaller and smaller, and eventually the scratches become so small that your eye cannot detect them and instead perceives a mirror finish. So once I reach the 600 grit and I'm happy, I switch over to my silicone polishers, which look like this. There are a few different brands, but you can find my favorite ones in the pinned comment below. And you start with the white and work your way all the way up the colors until you're at the pink. These silicone polishers do produce a substantial amount of dust, and I would highly recommend wearing a respirator mask whilst you're polishing with the silicone discs. 1, it cannot be good for your lungs long term, and 2, black bogies are just minging. And alas, after all those stages, you find yourself with a pair of beautiful, shining and glistening rings. Follow and subscribe for more.